If you're over 60 and still masturbating, you might be wondering, is this still normal? Could it be harming me? Or maybe is it helping more than I thought? The truth is, most older adults do it, but very few talk about it. Now, doctors are talking, even monks are talking. Because what happens to your brain, your body, and your heart during and after masturbation is more than just a moment of relief. It's connected to hormones, sleep, circulation, memory, and something deeper too, like how you carry shame, how you hold yourself, and how you choose to meet your own longing. This is not just about pleasure, it's about presence, and how gently you're willing to listen when no one else is watching. So don't click away. In the next few minutes, we'll walk with you through the science, the silence, the spiritual truths, and the unexpected wisdom that could change the way you see your body forever. Because what you do, or choose not to do, matters less than how you relate to yourself in that moment. This isn't just a video. This is an invitation to stop asking, should I feel this? And start asking, how can I care for this feeling with love? 1. Masturbation is natural. Let's pause here for a moment. You might have watched other videos about masturbation. Some are medical, some are how-to guides, some are blunt or even awkward. But here at Timeless Wisdom, we want to offer something a little deeper. Not just how it works, but why it matters. And more importantly, what feeling are you truly seeking afterward? Is it release, relief, a few seconds of satisfaction? Or is it something else? Maybe you're looking for peace. Maybe you want to feel connected. Maybe you just want to stop feeling lonely. And if that's true, then this act isn't shallow. It's not shameful. It's simply human. Now, if you're in a loving marriage and your partner is still active, interested, and present, these needs might be met through shared intimacy. But let's be honest, not everyone is in that situation. Maybe your spouse is no longer with you. Maybe they're ill. Maybe the emotional connection faded long ago. Or maybe sex was never easy between you in the first place. That's a reality many people face, but few speak about. So what do you do with the natural energy that still lives inside you? You don't ignore it, you don't numb it, you don't judge it, you acknowledge it, and ask, what is my body truly asking for right now? Sometimes the answer will be physical, sometimes emotional, sometimes spiritual. But here's what's most important. When you meet that energy with awareness instead of shame, it becomes medicine. Now, you may be surprised to hear this, but monks, yes, monks, are not trying to erase desire. They are trying to understand it. And in doing so, they offer us a different way to see this energy, not as a problem, but as a teacher. At Timeless Wisdom, we've studied not just the science of aging, but also the spiritual traditions that speak to the deeper layers of the human experience. And what we found is this: desire, including sexual energy, doesn't have to be suppressed. It can be witnessed, observed, gently honored, and in some paths, even transformed into compassion, clarity, or devotion. The monks we've learned from don't try to fight the body. They sit with it, they breathe through it, they study how it moves and how it softens when met with awareness. And friend, you don't need to live in a monastery to apply this. You can begin right where you are. Next time a wave of desire comes over you, pause. Notice your breath. Notice the sensation. Ask yourself, what is this really about for me today? What is my body asking for? Comfort, connection, care? You see, what the monks have taught us is this: you don't need to react immediately. You can respond slowly with presence, and that changes everything. Because when you slow down, you're no longer ruled by impulse. You're led by intention, and that's where healing begins. This practice of feeling without shame, of noticing without judgment, it's not about denying who you are. It's about rediscovering it. 2. The monk's way. At first glance, it might seem like monks have nothing in common with the rest of us. After all, they take vows of celibacy. They live in silence. They spend hours in meditation, far away from everyday concerns. But when we look closer, something shifts. You begin to see they are not rejecting their bodies. They are listening to them more deeply than most of us ever do. You see, many monastic paths don't see sexual energy as sinful. They see it as life force, as the same raw energy that can create life, inspire art, move nations, or when unbalanced, create restlessness, distraction, or pain. What monks do is refine that energy, not by repressing it, but by transforming it, through breath, through awareness, through rituals of devotion and movement and stillness. We've watched them sit with discomfort and soften into it. We've heard them describe desire not as something dirty, but as a wave that rises and falls. And like any wave, it's not dangerous if you know how to ride it. Now you might ask, how does this relate to me? You're not living in a temple. You're living in the real world. And maybe you're dealing with loneliness, or longing, or simply the ache of being in an aging body that still feels. And here's where the wisdom becomes practical. You don't need to deny your body, but you also don't need to chase every urge without pause. You can create a small ritual, your own kind of temple. It might look like this. Before you touch your body, you touch your breath. Before you seek release, you seek clarity. Before you rush into habit, you ask, what do I really need in this moment? This could take 10 seconds or 10 minutes. What matters is that you're no longer moving on autopilot. You're moving with presence, and presence, that's what turns any act into a sacred one. Masturbation in this light is no longer just about pleasure. It becomes about reconnection with your skin, with your breath, with your sense of worth. It's no longer something you do to escape loneliness. It becomes something you practice to return to yourself, gently. Because whether you're partnered or alone, whether your marriage is fulfilling or distant, you still deserve a moment of kindness, of quiet, of feeling alive. And sometimes that moment starts with touch. But what it leads to is far more important. It leads to knowing yourself, to honoring your boundaries, to witnessing your inner world, not just your outer one. So yes, the monks may live in silence, but they've taught us something powerful, that within every urge, every sensation, every pulse of life, there's an invitation, not to run from it, not to judge it, but to meet it with breath, with respect, and with awareness. And friend, if monks can do that with no distractions, we believe you can do it, right in your living room. You don't need a robe, you don't need a mantra, you just need a few quiet seconds and the courage to feel. Breath awareness, touching the body with the mind. Let's go even deeper, friend. When monks feel desire rise, they don't just sit still, they enter the breath. They study the body with kindness. You can do the same. Begin like this. Sit in a quiet spot. Back straight, feet grounded. Let your hands rest gently on your lap or over your heart. Now close your eyes and notice, which nostril is breathing in right now? Is it the left side? Is it the right? When you breathe in through the left nostril, quietly note, breathing in, left. When you exhale through the right, gently say, breathing out, right. Just naming, just noticing, no trying, no fixing. Let the breath move through you like a gentle stream. And now imagine that stream of air is traveling through your entire body, through your throat, through your chest, down to your belly, to your hips, to your legs, to your feet, to your fingertips. You might notice certain parts feel heavy, or warm, or numb, or restless. Don't run from them. Don't try to change them. Just say silently, I see you, I feel you, thank you. If your chest tightens, breathe into it. If your stomach flutters, soften it. If your hips ache, send them warmth. If your heart feels lonely, whisper to it, you've carried so much, I'm here now. As you breathe, move your awareness gently across your body, not to judge it, but to acknowledge it. Try saying silently as you scan, thank you, lungs, for every breath you've given me. Thank you, heart, for beating through all my joy and sorrow. Thank you, belly, for holding my strength and softness. Thank you, hands, for all the care you've given. Thank you, skin, for letting me feel the world. And maybe, if you feel tears rise, let them. That is the body opening. That is healing. This is not about repressing your desire. It's about holding it gently in the light of presence until it transforms into gratitude, into clarity, into peace. And friend, if something in you feels moved right now, even just a little calmer, a little softer, we invite you to take this one step further. You might consider exploring a guided meditation retreat. There are peaceful places, near and far, where people of all ages gather simply to breathe, to heal, and to listen inward together. Sometimes, just being in the right space, with a gentle guide and a quiet rhythm, can unlock something beautiful inside of you. But if you're not ready for that yet, that's okay. Even this moment with this video can be enough. You can return to this practice anytime. Replay it, sit with it, let it guide you back to yourself when emotions feel too heavy or desire feels confusing. And if you try it, Tell us how it felt. Leave a comment below and share. What did you notice in your body? What did this moment teach you about yourself? We read every message because this isn't just a video, it's a conversation, a quiet reminder you are not alone in this journey. So maybe now you're starting to feel it too. That this energy, the one we often hide or rush through or carry with shame, isn't just a problem to solve, but a language your body has always spoken. And when you slow down, when you bring breath, awareness, and a little tenderness, it speaks more clearly. It tells you where you're holding pain, where you're needing comfort, where your aliveness is asking to flow. And this isn't just spiritual wisdom. It's not just poetic. It's physiology. It's science. So let's keep going and look gently at what actually happens inside your body when you begin to treat this energy not as shameful, but as sacred. Let's explore the science of release together. 3. The science of release. Now, friend, you don't have to do anything. There's no pressure, no expectation. Just sitting with your breath, like we practiced in part 2, may already be enough. Enough to soften, to reconnect, to release without moving a muscle. But if you do choose to touch your body, if you decide to follow the wave of energy, not to suppress it, but to feel it fully, then this next part is for you. Because when we approach this with awareness, something beautiful happens, not just emotionally, but biologically. Let's take a quiet look at what actually goes on inside your body. First, your circulation awakens. You may feel warmth, fullness, a pulse of life in the pelvic area. That's not just sensation, it's your blood moving. When you engage in masturbation, especially gently, mindfully, your vascular system activates. Blood flows more freely through the lower abdomen and genitals. This is vital as we age. For women, it helps maintain tissue elasticity and natural moisture, supporting vaginal health. For men, it supports prostate circulation and erectile response. It's not about performance. It's about keeping the body responsive and alive with kindness. Then, your brain responds. As your body moves toward climax, your brain releases a cascade of natural chemicals. Endorphins ease pain and bring calm. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone, helps you feel safe and connected. Dopamine brings motivation, pleasure, and emotional release. It's not just about feeling good. It's about resetting your nervous system, especially in moments of anxiety, sadness, or emotional tension. Think of it as a physiological exhale. Next, the sleep connection. After orgasm, your brain releases prolactin, a hormone that invites rest. This is why you may feel sleepier afterward, and why mindful masturbation can be a natural support for insomnia, particularly if you've been carrying stress or holding tension throughout the day. But again, intention matters. This isn't about escaping discomfort. It's about meeting your need with awareness. Finally, the deeper reset. Let's be honest, desire doesn't always arise from pure physical need. Sometimes it's loneliness, boredom, an ache for closeness, even with yourself. Masturbation won't replace connection, but if approached with tenderness, it can restore your sense of being with yourself instead of feeling abandoned by your own body. That's powerful. Not because of what you did, but because of how you showed up for yourself. So remember, you don't have to act. Just sitting, breathing, and observing your sensations, like the monks do, may already bring peace. But if you do choose to act, let it be with kindness, with reverence, with presence. Because in that space, even pleasure becomes prayer. Your body is not asking for shame, it's asking for relationship with you. And when you meet it with awareness, you reclaim something no one else can give you, the power to comfort yourself from the inside out. 4. When shame gets in the way. Now, dear friend, let's talk about something that often comes quietly, but carries so much weight. Shame. Shame around desire, shame around touch, shame around doing something just for yourself. Most of us didn't grow up in a world that talked openly about this. In fact, many of us were taught the opposite, that touching your own body was dirty, that pleasure was something to avoid or only allowed under very specific rules. And worst of all, that after a certain age, you're not supposed to feel any of this at all. But let us gently offer another truth. Your body doesn't operate by society's calendar. Desire doesn't retire. And shame is not your birthright. It's something you inherited, not something you deserve. You see, at Timeless Wisdom, we've spent a lot of time reflecting on this. We've listened to stories, we've read the research, we've meditated on what it feels like to be human in an aging body that still carries longing. And here's what we've come to believe. Masturbation is not a problem, it's not a solution, it's a signal that your body still speaks, a signal that something within you is stirring, a memory, a hunger, a wave. The question is not, should I do this or not? The deeper question is, what is this really about for me right now? Is this habit or is this healing? Is this escape or is this an invitation to return to myself? And friend, only you can answer that, but not from the voice of guilt or fear. You answer it with awareness, with breath, with curiosity. Sometimes all it takes is a few simple shifts. Before you touch your body, touch your heart. Before you seek pleasure, check in with your pain. Before you rush forward, ask yourself, what part of me is asking for love right now? Because when shame enters the room, love quietly slips out. But when you welcome yourself as you are, suddenly, even the most private act becomes an opportunity to reconnect. Now let's name something else that's real. Shame doesn't just live in your mind. It settles in the body. It shows up as tight shoulders, as clenched jaws, as tension in the hips or the belly. That's why this isn't just about changing thoughts. It's about changing relationship with yourself. You are not doing something bad when you seek comfort. You are doing something human. And when you bring breath into that, when you treat yourself with tenderness instead of judgment, that is not indulgence, that is integration. So if you've ever felt conflicted, you're not alone. If you've ever felt relief and then guilt, you're not alone. If you've ever felt like your needs made you less spiritual, less wise, or less worthy, we're here to tell you, that's not true. That was never true. Your body was never the enemy. It was the messenger. And now you're learning to listen. So now, dear friend, maybe you're beginning to see, this was never about whether masturbation is right or wrong. It was about how you relate to your body, how you meet your own longing, and whether you offer it shame or presence. And once you begin to offer presence, something subtle shifts. Pleasure stops being just physical. It becomes a doorway into stillness, into tenderness, into something we don't often talk about in this context, spiritual practice. Yes, let's go there now. 5. Self-love is a spiritual return, and you are not alone. So now, dear friend, maybe you're beginning to feel it. This is no longer about sex. It's about silence, and how that silence holds more of us than we ever admit. You see, when you touch your own skin with reverence, when you breathe with your own longing instead of pushing it away, you're not just practicing self-care, you're practicing something sacred. You're meeting yourself, not with guilt or urgency, but with presence. And that presence is a form of prayer. What if we told you that self-love, when practiced gently and consciously, is one of the most spiritual things you can do in later life? Not because of what happens physically, but because of what it awakens emotionally. A sense of dignity, a soft kind of joy, a subtle reconnection with the you that's still very much here, even after all these years. This isn't about proving you're still desirable. It's about remembering you're still deserving of comfort, of peace, of love from the inside out. And now, let us say this clearly, you are not alone. We know you might have gone years without talking to anyone about this part of your life. You may have held it in silence, even in marriage, even with friends, even with yourself. But here's the truth. Millions of older adults around the world are waking up to this same reality. They're asking, can I still feel? Can I still listen to my body without shame? Can this part of me still matter? And the answer, softly, steadily, is yes. Yes, you can feel. Yes, you still matter. Yes, your body is still yours, even now. And yes, others are walking this path too, quietly, courageously, tenderly, just like you. At Timeless Wisdom, we believe this. Self-love is not a private escape. It is a sacred return, a return to the body, a return to the breath, a return to the parts of you the world told you to hide, but your soul never stopped honoring. When you care for yourself in this way at this stage of life, you're not indulging, you're remembering, you're reclaiming, you're rerouting into the truth. I am still whole. I am still worthy of warmth. I am still home. So friend, if you've ever felt ashamed, if you've ever whispered, maybe I shouldn't, if you've ever wondered if it's too late to feel intimacy again, let us remind you, it's not too late. Your body is still capable of healing. Your heart is still capable of opening, and your spirit is still capable of deep, gentle transformation. You are not strange. You are not broken. You are beautifully, quietly, fully human. And we are walking beside you. Now, we also want to gently honor something else. Some older adults, maybe even you, don't feel the need to act on desire physically anymore. Not because they've given up on pleasure, but because they've discovered other kinds of joy. They've begun asking different questions. Not, how do I satisfy this urge? But rather, how can I move this energy into something meaningful? And so they walk, they dance, they garden, they learn new things, they spend time with people who uplift them. They choose foods that nourish the body and naturally rebalance hormones like magnesium, greens, seeds, and cooling teas. They don't force themselves to be above desire. They simply listen to it differently. They redirect it, like monks do, into motion, into music, into growth. And you know what they find? Peace. Not because they stopped feeling, but because they stopped fearing what they feel. Their joy becomes quieter, but deeper. It lives in the breath, in the body's lightness. In the sense of knowing, I'm not ruled by longing, I'm guided by love. Dear friend, if you've made it to this point in the video, it means you have the courage to look inward, to sit with the softest, most unspoken parts of yourself. That alone is healing. This journey isn't about performance. It's not about doing more, fixing more, or proving anything. It's about listening to your body, to your breath, to the places that still want to feel safe and loved. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're in process, just like the rest of us. So let this be your reminder. There is no shame in caring for yourself. There is no age limit on tenderness, and there is no wrong way to come home as long as you come with honesty and presence. Now we invite you to share. How old are you? And what has helped you navigate this tender space between longing and love, between silence and self-care? Comment below. Let someone else see that they're not alone, because you, your story, might be the medicine they didn't know they needed. And if this video felt meaningful, we warmly invite you to share it with someone you trust. This is timeless wisdom, where every minute you give to your health today becomes a gift for your tomorrow. Take care of yourself, gently, honestly, and never forget, your body was never a problem. It was always a story, waiting to be heard.